Okay, so we're going to do a couple of examples. The first is going to deal with what's called complex fractions, and then we'll do a quick example of order of operations with fractions. All right, so this first example, it's what's known as a complex fraction. Kind of think of it as fractions within a fraction. You see all these smaller fractions within the overall larger fraction. So we're going to show you how to go through this one. So what we have is we have in the numerator of our overall fraction, we have 7/10 plus 1/2. And in the denominator, we have 4/5 plus 3/4. Okay, so when we do the math here, let's consider, usually when we have a fraction, if we have computations to do in the numerator and denominator, we do those first. And then remember, we're going to divide in the end. Okay, we take whatever we get up top in the numerator, we divide what's in the denominator. Same idea for a complex fraction. Okay, so we need to do the operations first just to get a single fraction up top in the numerator, single fraction in the denominator. So let's take care of, we need to do 7/10 plus 1/2. And of course, when we add two fractions, we need to make sure we have a common denominator. The least common denominator is going to be 10. Okay. Now, we'll take care of the bottom as well. We'll take care of the denominator. And the least common denominator for 4/5 and 3/4, so for 5 and 4, the least common denominator is going to be 20. All right. So that means we need to change our fractions. All right. So in the numerator, we've got 7/10. Okay. It already has 10. We have to change that one. 1/2 has to be changed to 5/10. Okay. Multiply by 5 to get to our common denominator. And then on the bottom, we're going to change them both to 20. So 4 over 5, 4/5 will change to 16 over 20. And then 3/4 will change to 15 over 20. Okay. Continue this up here. All right, so now that we have our common denominator, we can add. So up top, we have 7/10 plus 5/10. We add 7 plus 5 to get our 12 over 10. And then on the bottom, we have our common denominator, so our work is 16 plus 15 to get 31. So we have 31 over 20. Okay? So here we are. So we've simplified it down. We have a single fraction in our numerator and a single fraction in our denominator. Now here's where we would change it to a division problem, because remember, fraction is a way of expressing division. So really what we have here is we have 12 over 10 divided by 31 over 20. All right? All right. And as we all know, when we divide fractions, okay, we're going to really multiply by the reciprocal of that second fraction. I'm sure you've heard of keep, change, flip. That's going to apply here. So we're going to keep the first fraction at 12 over 10. Change the multiplication. We flip the second fraction to make it 20 over 31. All right. Now, once we're here, we can just multiply. Now, you can multiply straight across if you'd like, but of course, we do have to simplify this fraction in the end. So one of the techniques we can use is cross-canceling. And you look at 20 over 10, okay, like it's its own fraction, and it reduces down to 2 and 1. Okay. You can look at the 12 and the 31, but that won't reduce. All right. So now, let's make it easier on ourselves. The numbers are smaller, so now instead of doing 12 times 20, we do 12 times 2 to get 24. And on the bottom, instead of 10 times 31, we just have 1 times 31 to get 31. Okay, so let's continue with another example, and this will deal with order of operations. We have 1/2 times 2/7 in our first parenthesis, minus in our second parenthesis, we have 1/2 divided by 2/7. All right, so when we think about order of operations, what we need to do first, let's do the parentheses. We can do each one simultaneously. All right, so in the first one, when we do 1/2 times 2/7, again, we can multiply right away, or let's try this cross-canceling technique. We notice the 2's will each reduce down to 1's, okay, kind of like they cancel each other out. All right, So that's all the simplifying we can do. So now we just multiply straight across. We're going to have 1 up top, so 1 times 1 is 1, and on the bottom you have 1 times 7. Okay. Minus, now in the second parenthesis, when we divide, of course, we're going to keep change flip. We change it to multiplication. We flip the second fraction. So it's going to be 1/2 times 7 over 2. All right. So now we do 1/7. Let's finish that parenthesis off. There's nothing we can reduce, so let's go ahead and multiply. 1 times 7 gives us 7 in the numerator, and on the bottom 2 times 2 gives us 4. All right. So now let's finish this off by subtracting. Now when we subtract, this is where we need our least common denominator. And for 7 and 4, it is going to be 28. So that means we need to rewrite both fractions with a denominator of 28. Alright, so 1/7 will then become 4 over 28 because it's 7 times 4 gives you 28, therefore you got to do 1 times 4 to get 4. And then for our other one, to get from 4 to 28, we had to multiply by 7. So that means we got to do the top by 7. So 7 times 7 gives you 49. Okay. So now that we have our common denominator, we just do 4 minus 49. 4 minus 49 gives us a negative 45 over 28.